Okay, let's take a look at what we got here. We're going live and we're just waiting on this to refresh so we have access to the chat. All right, so no one's watching yet. Hopefully, we get some viewers. But we're going to be introducing a new product with the Big Blast Consortium early in 2026, and I am already hard at work getting new products on the store. 2025 was actually a pretty good year for me with the store. I was not expecting as many sales as I got. In fact, I'm still catching up with orders from the Christmas time in 2026. So at least there's that. What I'm actually creating today is something that I was actually asked to make by Milo's mods, um, because he modded his volcanic with the heavy spring and noticed that it was a really beefy prime. So he had said to me, "Hey Norm, if I actually help you get a volcanic, because at first I wasn't going to get this blaster after I've been burnt with the brute. If I help you, when it comes to getting the volcanic, will you design something for it?" So I said, "Sure." I mean, like I don't want to spend money on a blaster that I'm not really going to be spending too much on, or using too much because I was not a fan of what Dart Zone did to me with the brute. So he helped me, pay for part of the volcanic, and I was like, "Look, you know what? I don't want you to buy it for me, but because of that, I have a volcanic." And the stipulation was that he wanted me to design a T pool for it. So I got that last year when it was on sale, and it was only 39 bucks as opposed to the 59. So I'm like, all right, let's. He paid for part of it. We got the volcanic, and I noticed that the volcanic itself, even with the stock spring, it's a beefy prime. Um, just to give you an idea, it's a two-handed blaster, no matter what, and the prime for it, it is a hard prime for what it is for a quote unquote 150 and above, though I'm getting right around 165, 170, sometimes 180s with the nitro shot darts. I'm going to be doing an entire review on it, but first I had to actually get to designing this part. Now, obviously, when you take off the volcanic, this is without the slide. You have these little posts here, but then you also have this hook back here. Now, Dart Zone did create something. Not Dart Zone. Out of Darts created something. Luchathor created a rail that they only sell in, I call it Karen compliant orange. But given that there's already orange on the blaster, and they're not going to offer you to be able to do this in any other color but orange, I wanted to design something that I could print, put on the Blaster Consortium, and actually offer not only the customization that I offer for the piston pump, but also offer different color options. Because if you wanted Karen compliant orange, you can get Karen compliant orange, or you can go with the original color, which is this gray, and do it like this. Now, the original piece actually has two different parts that you actually screw together. This only has one, and you only have to recycle one, or sorry, two screws from the original set. It does require a little bit of hardware. It requires one M4, 40 millimeter M4 screw and a bolt. That only acts as a reinforcement. You don't need it for the soft spring. You might need it for the hard spring. I do not have the upgrade spring on this yet, so I can't test this out just yet with the upgrade spring. I'm actually going to be sending out a couple of these to people that I know have the actual upgrade spring on there, to see how it actually works out. But given how firm it is with the soft spring, I don't see it being a problem. Now, putting it together, it is ridiculously simple. We're going to be going actually showing you this how to do this right now, because all you have to do is you slide this on here, and you see that my personalization is here. Of course, on one side you have volcanic. This part is an actual iron sight that I mounted on here. It's going to be different in the final product. There's going to be an angular transition downwards here, so you don't have to use as many supports when 3D printing it, because, yeah, I don't like how rough this came out. So I'm going to fix that. So this actually slides over like this, and you're going to want to line up the hole back here with this hole right here, like so. And that means that these little pilot holes should be lined up where the screws go. So I'm going to take the screws now, and you can technically fit 440 screws on here, but the stock screws should be just fine also. I'm going to screw these in real quick. Let me find my screwdriver. That screws in like that. And then this one should just screw in right here. And go ahead and say hello to the chat, those who are watching. You know, I always try to interact with people. So this one screws in like so. Now, as it stands right now, this is ready to prime. As you can see, it primes without a problem. Well, I think I might have screwed in the wrong area. I might have screwed this in the wrong spot. Let's see what I did here. Why are you not firing? Of course, this is the third time that I've printed this. First time I'm showing it on camera, and now's when it's not wanting to work. So there we go. All right, so let's do this again. Now, one of the things I will show you about this is that it actually does have these guide rails on here. When you actually get this product, if you decide to buy it, these guide rails are here. I should say these indents are here because that is where this is able to slide in and not slide against the wall. That's why it's able to friction fit on there properly. Let's get this lined up properly, make sure that we're not having the same issues we did last time. That should be lined up right. That should be lined up right, according to my measurements. So I see 2 people watching. I guess I lost a couple people. Gonna get this screwed in now. Well, one person technically watching because the other person is me logged into my other account, monitoring the chat. So now we're going to take this. So we'll get this back in. All right. So as you can see, like I said, it is able to top prime. It does take a little bit to prime it though, just with the top slide. And you do have options for personalization. Of course, one side does have the volcanic, and the other side has my name or your name. I can fit safely up to 9 letters on here at the 14-point font. So try to keep it if you request customization down to 9 letters. Don't put like a massively long name. So now, the other part to this, though, of course, is that you have the T-pull. Now, the T-pull, this is where you want to have your M4 40 millimeter bolt. So you can actually take this bolt here. Now, I will include when I sell this, the bolt itself. I'm not going to make you, source your own bolts for this, but we're going to just start twisting this in here. It's going to be a tight fit, so I'm probably going to want to use an Allen wrench on this one. I have an Allen wrench here that's the size. I should. There we go. So try to get this in here now. This part had a little bit of warping damage when I printed this one. Unfortunately, I did not change the heat settings properly on my printer because I was using my my prototyping printer, not my production printer. So it kind of warped a little bit. So it's not going to quite look like this, the final product, but this is more of a tester, I should say. This is beta testing before final release. Alpha testing actually went just fine. So the reason I'm not using my production printer is because, like I said before, I have 7 orders in queue right now that I'm trying to get through, and a couple of them are pretty massive. Did I just... I just lost my Allen key. There, oh, fell into my hoodie pocket. Gosh. So seriously, if you are watching in the chat, go ahead and actually feel free to interact. I'd like to know who's watching. Because those who watch, if they order this, may actually get a discount. But I have to know who the discount's going to go to. So just saying. This will be a $10 product. $10 through the Big Blaster Consortium. I feel comfortable charging as much as Out of Darts charges for their T-Pool because, to be honest, mine is not in Karen compliant orange. I offer the customization options. So every single one of these is going to be printed to order when it's ordered. It's not like I'm going to mass batch these, similar to what Out of Darts is able to do, since theirs are all the same. So, and I am calling Out of Darts out because, again, they made a T-Pool handle for a blaster that needs one, and they chose to have it in Karen compliant orange, as opposed to matching the original color of the blaster, which is very easy to do. I mean, this is a very basic gray, and it looks pretty spot on. So now that that bolt has threaded in a little bit, I'm going to back it up a little bit, just enough so I can feed the nut on here. Okay, so as you can see, that sits flush on there. That's tight. All this acts is as reinforcement for the plastic. This doesn't really serve any engineering purpose other than to just reinforce this piece of plastic right here. This is just to be sure, because of the higher spring loads, it's going to hold. I feel like it should be just fine because this is pretty much solid. Like, this is very solid. Now, this piece right here, this is the part where it's probably going to use a little bit of trimming. I might have to deburr a little bit, but it just sits right in there. And there's 2 little holes, one right here, one on the side. This one actually acts for the stabilizer pin, which I should have right here. That's just going to fit right in there. And I'm going to hammer this down real quick. Make sure that works in there. Well, actually, first, I'm going to put the secondary one, the main pin, in here. This may need some hammering. Oh, there we go. It's going in. So, okay, that's going in there. What's it getting caught on? What are you getting caught on? You're even. Try this one. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, so that is in here as well. What's going on, AJ? So now there is a little bit of excess here. Obviously, I'm going to trim this down, but need to take off a millimeter off of this measurement and take some flush snips. and that just rests flush with that. Now, technically, this right here can pull and be fine. It's not giving away too much, but I do see a little slack there. So I'm going to put in the stabilizing pin right now, which is this piece right here. And this should slip in here like so. Okay, I'm going to have to actually extend that piece out a little bit because that should stick a little bit more flush up here. So maybe add about 2 more millimeters to that so it sits flush. But all in all, you have a T-pull here. Now, the one thing that you'll notice about this T-pull is that it does require manly hands because this is a beefy prime. So that is much easier to push like that than doing like this. But you actually have that as well. And then, of course, the sight that is integrated on here, it is already lined up perfectly with the front sight, so you maintain the accuracy from it. So this is actually going to be a $10 part on Big Blaster Consortium, and of course, it does offer the customization that most of my other products do have. And as you can see, the gray is almost an exact color match to the gray that comes with the natural blaster itself. So you don't have to worry about the Karen compliant orange that is available with Luchador's design over at Out of Darts. So this is actually my original design. I catted this out last night. And yeah, I may put this file up available to purchase. I'm not entirely sure because I feel like the Volcanic might be something that's available overseas eventually, and some people might want this. So, not to mention, no one else has designed a T-pull for it yet other than Out of Darts, and there's that. Now, the T-pull itself, like I said, it's it's going to require some man hands. It's pretty big. You know, adult-sized hands will have a hard time gripping around it. I am able to literally just spread my middle finger and my index finger, grip it like so, and pull back. So there you have it. And this is with the soft spring. When you actually have the harder spring, it's going to be working out a lot better. So I'm going to actually redo this reinforcement pin and make it a little bit taller. That way we don't have to worry about that. So, but there you have it. Again, this is for the Volcanic. Now, the next thing that's going to be coming soon, and I wish I had it here, I could show it off, but for those of you who actually have the S400, I have devised a magwell for it that is very low hardware and will be on sale soon on my store. I have actually sent it out to get my measurements tested over to Gibbs Mods. He's going to be running tests on it on Monday, making sure it fits in the blaster. ZWQ actually released their shell for the blaster to be 3D printed, and that's where I actually got the measurements for it. I had noticed that there were a couple of Talon magazine adapters that were made for it that utilized a weird spring. So, excuse me, Gavin Fuzzy Customs developed one that utilized a Caliburn spring. I believe that ZWQ developed one that was for their Talon magazine, which is actually fed backwards, but nobody likes to do that. So I actually developed one that feeds properly, can use banana mags, can use the straight mags, can use a Tachi mag. I haven't tested yet with the Dragon Claw mags because I don't have any, and it can use the Siren Blink mags. So, and it has a longer paddle. So literally ejecting it, it's you just pull it out and then you pull the actual magazine out. It does not gravity drop, unfortunately. I have to get the settings just right for that. So that should hopefully be launching probably within the next week and a half, if not sooner. Like I said, I'm just waiting on Gibbs Mods to give me the go ahead and say, hey, no, your design works. He's going to load it up in his blaster and test it out. So, and the cool part about that one is that literally it's just 3 parts that are 3D printed, the lever, the pin that holds the lever in, and the mag well itself, and it uses a basic spring for the mag lever. So yeah, like this is one that I'm going to be able to source easily. I might be able to actually put the file online as well, because anyone can source one of these springs. I mean, I literally had it from a bucket of springs that I had. It was like a little, almost like a stronger catch spring for a retaliator kind of a thing. So there you have it. The other thing that I'm going to be working on here soon, and I need to get to work on this one, is for the Boxer. I've been asked to develop a buttstock for it. Or find a way to do like an end strike attachment to it, which would be pretty simple. It should be pretty basic. I just need to take the brace that's on the buttstock right now off of it so I can get that and do that myself. So, but yeah, but there you have it. There's my design. Again, this is the quality of life improvement for the Volcanic. I hope you guys like this. This should be about $10 on the bigblasterconsortium.com. Once I actually get feedback from Gims mods and Milo's mods who have the heavy springs in there, how it looks like, we're going to go ahead and launch this. I may make a little bit of a change to the actual T-pull itself, make it not be so wide, because I feel like that's a drawback to the design, but it's made for beefy hands because it's a beefy draw. So there you have it. So what do y'all think about this design? Do y'all like it? Do y'all like the color? Do you like the customizations? Let me know in the chat. Be greatly appreciated, because I rely on feedback from my audiences to let me know what's going to sell and what's not going to sell. I see we got fluctuations in the chat here, people going in. Let's see what we got here. Okay, you like the customization part. That's one of the things, and I've asked what people like the most about the piston pump design that I made, and that's what I always got back was that, oh, I can customize yours, versus the other ones where they don't have that option to customize. So I mean, I guess there's that. I know that Out of Darts created a piston pump. Not they created, but they're carrying now a piston pump handguard, a barrel shroud basically, that was designed by Chance, and again they chose to make it completely orange, and yeah, it's kind of funny. I do also find it humorous that I launched my SOCOM shroud, which was the first shroud to actually have four rails all around it. And shortly afterwards, different designs started showing up that had that four rail setup. So it's kind of funny. But yeah. T-pull is far back enough, it'll still be holstered. I mean, technically, yeah. I mean, if you have the holster here, it will be back there. It is far back up enough as well. Though I'll be honest with you, this blaster, it is kind of chunky, so it is more of a primary unless you're running it like this, because this is a really large blaster for a pistol. I do feel like it's a missed opportunity on Dart Zone's behalf to actually make this be a spot for like a pump grip. So maybe an extended rail would have been nice. I may in the future actually design this to have Picatinny rail on the bottom, and design another swap out muzzle for the extended barrel, because the extended barrel comes out to like here. So who knows? Maybe make a carbine kit for it. But yeah, there you have it. So yeah, the T-pull does go back far enough, like you said, and it is pretty solid. It's pretty secured in there. So, and that is literally just a solid piece of plastic that's holding it in. So that's kind of cool. So yeah. I don't want to say that the shroud looks like garbage. I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to say that much orange on the front end of a blaster that doesn't have any orange on it except for the B car and the barrel is obnoxious. So just saying, you already have the B car on it. You don't need to have a long orange shroud to it. Not to mention the blaster itself has a design that it is pretty obvious it is a toy. So I get being compliant for safety reasons. That's taking it a bit much. So yeah. But like I said, real short live. Thank you to everyone who's watching. Please feel free to comment in the chat. Those of you who are interested in this, shoot me an email at blasterrevisited@gmail.com. I will be providing a coupon for those who are actually interested in buying one of these for their volcanics, because that's what you get when you actually view my lives. So probably the next thing that's going to be happening in 2026 for me is that I'll be starting a Patreon, where those who actually sign up for the Patreon will get first dibs on some of these smaller things. They'll be getting like free small upgrades for their blasters. So we'll see. But yeah, I do want to thank you all for watching. I know there was only 6 of you in the chat, but thank you so much for watching. And until next time, y'all, keep on blasting.